And I turned the fan off because I thought it was distracting watching the fan go around on the top. But then
Thank
you can
you.
move the screen up if you want.
Hello, it's Jay. Hello.
Hey Jay, it's Guinevere. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hey, I am behind on getting documents for the Cornaverde project, so I was going to email you them, and
Okay.
then also email you so we can talk about them without naming them. One, two, three. Just I talked to Clint about that. He advised that, so that is coming your way. I also heard that you have a Monarch Pass. Are we going to ski this winter?
I'm hoping to. Yeah.
Awesome. I was like, no way, Jay skis. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's my whole reason for staying through the end of the ski season is to ski.
Dude, I hear you. I love skiing. It's like therapy for me.
Yeah, me too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. We'll have to carpool. Okay, so I'll email that as soon as I get it drawn up, but I just wanted to let you know it's coming.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am. Have a wonderful day. Okay. Take care. Bye.
Turned your sound off on your phone, so it shouldn't ring, but you could be able to see.
Messages. Elise.
So just touching base with you is what she said that I could see. I'm gonna go ahead and close your door.
Thank you.
All right. And if you want your screen tilted up more, we could turn the fan on. I mean, if
I'm fine. All I was worried about is this right here.
your screen wasn't doing funky stuff while I was sitting there, so that's good.
Yeah, good. Let's hope it stays that way.
You make that bigger so you can see it easier?
What?
Do you make that bigger so you can see it easier? I meant this. You slide the bar over to make it fuller size of the page so you can see the whole
Right.
page.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good meeting.
in this area, you must dial the area code and the phone number. For assistance, please dial 611 or dial 1-800-331-0500 from a landline phone. Para hacer una llamada en esta área, debe marcar el código de área y el número de teléfono. Para obtener ayuda, favor de marcar 611 o 1-800-331-0500 desde un teléfono fijo. Message 9, US01 LV.
Okay, I'm glad they were.
Jay, are you able?
I can hear you fine. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Thank you.
Now, try it one more time.
All right, we're just doing a sound check. I want to make sure you can hear.
And then,
Uh-huh.
so it's, normally I can hear
Can
like,
you hear
let's
me,
say
Jay?
Jay's talking, I'll be able to hear him out of the speaker here.
And you're going to.
Jay, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, I
Thank
can
you.
barely hear you, so you're gonna have
Oh,
to listen to Jay through the headphones.
That's the only alternative.
Oh,
Unless you want me to do a telephone,
no,
we could play it through a telephone.
let's try it
For
again.
Jay.
can you hear me any better now?
Not very loud.
Yes,
Okay, I'll speak up.
I mean,
We can hear him on the headsets, it'll be all right.
yeah, so we're getting that delay. So it's gonna be kind of awkward.
I gotta turn that down.
What's that?
oh, no, we're good.
Check, check.
So we're unmuted there.
Unmuted there.
And it doesn't matter about the other one, right? That one did.
No, that doesn't matter.
Brandon,
Yes, sir.
how come I'm coming through and this is not on?
Speaking of this.
Picking up off of it,
Mhm.
is this gonna interfere with it?
And I received the new system that we're gonna install yesterday at 3:30, and I just don't have time to test it. So.
Mine's off. I just shut it off.
Okay.
So I don't know where. I don't know where.
Okay,
We're also
I'm
getting
on.
image through, or audio through here.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I think that's what I said.
Can you hear me? Check, check.
I didn't even hear you.
Oh, you
No,
did?
you can't hear each
Okay.
other through
So
that.
I'm like,
I go to the bathroom. I thought,
Shouldn't be able
I
to.
said,
Oh.
you don't matter, you don't matter. And then I walked
I
out,
hear
she's like
everybody
that.
but you.
oh, no, you know that I do not. Why?
Okay. That's-
If I was that sensitive, I can't work here.
That's very true.
So where are these guys' voices being picked up on that up there?
Yeah, from this microphone here. And they also have their own.
Oh,
Oh, Kelly, you have that, well, yeah, you always have one. Clint has one today since Jay's out.
So if Jay's gonna be on Zoom today,
How will
Kara, Clint and I can't hear him.
Okay, I'll set something up for you.
So
That's right, where usually I can hear something out of here, but I'm
We
not
can't
Yeah, I
hearing
know, but it's
anything.
not very loud. I'll set something up for you right now.
okay, that would probably be good.
It's a broken chair. I'm gonna swap it out.
There's one right here.
Or are we gonna have somebody in?
Just
So,
Vernon, I think is the only, but we got
And
that.
then,
one.
Let's just take this one.
Gwenda Bear's gonna come down later.
Oh,
for
and
the
Glenn, yeah.
one part.
Did you about sink away there?
Yeah.
So
It's a
Jay, can
statement.
you talk for a minute?
Did he talk?
No.
Is he not able to hear you?
Jay, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me back?
Yeah, hold on just a second.
You're muted, Tom.
No,
Jay, can you hear me?
I hear you, Bill.
Okay.
Bill, if you unmute like that, your audio has to go through our system, not yours. If you unmute, you'll get that feedback.
Okay.
So you need me, oh,
So I'm good here, just like we are. Cool.
And one more time, Jay.
Tom needs to mute.
Yeah.
Can you see that? on
Can you
here?
hear me all right?
On,
Who's muted and who's not?
mhm.
Oh,
I can hear you,
I
sir.
can see
So
that
when
on
you
somebody
start
else.
talking, I don't want to hear you. How do you do?
Jay, can you hear me?
I hear you just fine, thank you.
Okay.
There we go.
Your meeting of the Board of Custer County Commissioners will come to order. Let the record show that today is September 30th, 2020, and the time is 9:00 a.m. Ms. Kara, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States
States of America and to the I've lost the audio. Vern?
Check. There, we're back.
There, yeah.
I don't know why.
Hey,
Madam
I'm back.
Board, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Flower,
Present.
Commissioner Kanda,
Here.
Commissioner Prince,
Here,
Attorney Clint Smith,
Present.
EOCC Admin Assistant Kara Evans,
Present.
and Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper present.
Thank you, ma'am. We will skip audience introductions. We don't have anyone else in the room today. We have some folks on the call, it looks like. Amendments to the agenda. Gentlemen, do you have any?
None here.
I have none, sir.
And nor do I. Approval of the minutes, July 15th, July 31st, August the 4th, and August the 5th.
I move we accept the minutes as presented July 15th, 31st, August 4th, and 5th.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes, July 15, July 31, August 4th, and August 5th. Discussion. Appreciate Kelly getting us caught up on those. Thank you, ma'am. I hear no further discussion. We'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Commissioner Kanda?
Aye,
Aye.
Commissioner Flower? Aye. Commissioner Prince?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Those minutes have been approved. Commissioner items, Commissioner Kanda, would you like to begin?
No, I'd like to go last today.
Okay, Commissioner Prince?
Sure, thank you. I've been very busy, except for the last few days when I've been visiting family. I appreciate this accommodation by letting me come in um, on Zoom, forcing you guys to wear your headphones. I know it's not comfortable, but I appreciate that. I've attended all the task force meetings except one, the coronavirus relief fund meetings I've been to, and all the other things that we do. The planning and zoning committee meeting on Monday, I was on the phone for that. So I've just done my commissioner stuff that I'm supposed to do.
Great. Thank you. I'll go through my meeting schedule first. September the 17th, I attended the airport board meeting out at the airport. I also attended the hazard mitigation plan workshop that day. That was a Zoom conference. And also attended the small communities workshop via Zoom on the 17th. And just wanted to remind everybody that September 17th was Ivan Marr's last day of work. September 22nd, attended the coronavirus relief fund meeting. And then in the afternoon, I attended the district attorney's budget meeting. I'll address that a little more in a minute. On the 28th, attended the planning and zoning resolution hearing. And on the 29th, attended the coronavirus relief fund meeting at the town hall, and also attended the planning and zoning evening resolution hearing, and attended the Custer County SSC meeting via Zoom yesterday. Or no, sorry. So that's my calendar up to date. And I just wanted to report that as of today, we have reimbursed various applicants with the coronavirus relief fund money to the tune of about $119,000. And we have submitted that dollar amount to DOLA to be reimbursed through the coronavirus relief fund. So, and then at the DA budget hearing, the 2021 budget hearing, her budget $2,809,463. Custer County's portion of that, which is equal to 5.11%, is $117,765, which is an increase of $8,884. So we will take that up during the budget hearings, which I also wanted to let everybody know are October the 13th through the 16th. So, and I think that everything else will come up during new business. So that's all I have. Commissioner Kanda.
Thank you very much. I've got the same kinds of meetings that you've all mentioned, but I don't want to waste time talking about that right now because there's nothing important to bring to the board for any items that we might consider later on. Airport's fine, AWAS is proceeding. However, I would like to take the opportunity right now to have a discussion. I just want to lay out some observations, some concerns, and some statements of fact, and an item from I think very important. First of all, I appreciate the fact that this is a small county and we are a family in effect. So I want you to take that in that light. So I'd like to start by saying that we have, and by the way, these are my observations. There are statements of fact, and I'm not going to debate it. I'm just laying it out. So we have entered, and I've written them down, so we'll carefully go through it, and I'll give you a copy, Kelly, for the record. We've entered into extraordinary times. Saving lives, protecting livelihoods is our key job right now. Times requiring unprecedented actions and efforts that mandate cohesive teamwork by individuals in organizations at all levels. In our case, Custer County teams that must leverage each other's strengths to win, to save those lives and to protect livelihoods. That's not just referring to the Board of County Commissioners, but it's all the teams that are involved. The citizens of this county gave us the responsibility and authority to keep and to build a vibrant, prosperous county for them. They're our bosses. I work for the citizens. You work for the citizens, Jay, Tom does. The elected officials here do. We don't work for the governor. We don't work for the Department of Transportation, nor the Department of Health and Environment, or any of the other departments. We should never forget that. They depend on our skills, capabilities, and most importantly, our leadership. I had hoped with the time that I've been on this board to make this group a cohesive team, help contribute that with my skills and leveraging everybody else's. But there's several incidences that have occurred that shows our BOCC team is failing. We, Tom, you, me, and Jay, are laying our bosses down, I feel. We do not have a cohesive leadership team, my view. First, this came to a head to me in our last BOCC / the Board of Health meeting held on the 16th of September. You both have admitted in various times that you cannot lead, in my view. You both stated that you don't have the expertise or the ability to make decisions to save lives while protecting the livelihoods of our citizens. You wanted to cede your authority to an unelected board of volunteers. Failing that, you want to sidestep the public health agency's statutory duties to a volunteer committee. That was clearly orchestrated, in my view, by a move, and that might be construed in some corners as collusion, of the agenda item that was to instate a board of health with non-elected volunteers as abruptly removed out of the agenda, blindsiding me and the concerned citizens who were there. That was very disrespectful, in my view, to the people that had come to that meeting and expected to have that discussion. It was disrespectful, it was rude, and probably maybe even an illegal maneuver, I don't know. Should have been a 24-hour notice if we didn't want to have it on there and just take it off before the meeting. Then in a similar way, there was a pre-orchestrated move again on an agenda item that was added to the Board of Health meeting. It was established to a committee to sidestep, in my view, the statutory duties of our health department. This should not have been allowed. It was out of order. I was blindsided. Our citizens were blindsided. And I will intend, and we will address this at the next Board of Health meeting. I've researched the statutes. And in this case, it's 25-1-509, which clearly outlines, in this case, the county and district public health director's jobs. And in fact, it states, and I'll bold this in my view here, that all personnel required by the agency or an agency shall, not may, it says shall be selected by the public health director by statute. I think our health director has been doing a good job of doing that right now, and he's given me, and I think I'll forward this, he just sent it, of a bunch of advisors. He's taken his job seriously, including people from all walks of life, doctors, veterinarians, people in the business area, professors, church, etc. And I'll forward that, a very good, complete list right now of people that will be used to give us good, solid advice to make those decisions. And so we'll discuss that in detail in the next meeting and decide what we'll do, because I want to make sure we're legally following the law. Most importantly, you have embarrassed the entire county and made us a laughing stock, in my view, by disrespecting the fine professionals we were lucky enough to hire. By the grace of God, we've got Dr. Cliff Brown here, a professional with years of experience. I've apologized to Dr. Brown for abominable behavior, and I do so once again. Dr. Brown, I apologize for the treatment. And I want that on now for the public record. Our demeanor, your demeaning attitude toward this fine professional was infantile, and name calling me also is less than professional. Secondly, the GOP forum occurred. It was clear, Tom, and this is just my view, I was there and I've seen the tape of the meeting. I think there's around 900 to 1,000 hits on that meeting, that you presented, a hostile, condescending manner to the people that we work for. And I don't know if you actually do recognize or want to be a team member or who your boss is. That's just my perception. You were asked if you'd do anything differently, and you said no. I'll leave it at that because the forum was live streamed, as I said, and that's not really what I want to end with here. Finally, the thing that capped this discussion and the reason I decided to get up at 4 this morning, and I wrote this down for the public because it bothered me that much. I received yesterday a letter from a group of concerned citizens with 75 signatures attached to it, and I'll give it to both you, Jay, and Tom when we're done here, stating their concerns regarding the disrespect and treatment of Dr. Brown, the conflicts within the health department, the violation of state sunshine laws, and there's a court request that they filed. And you'll be getting that, Kelly, I guess. I haven't heard whether they have or not yet. They intend to take this matter to the state officials. That means the Colorado Independent Ethics Commission, and the proceeding along with a Section 23 penalties and for violations of open meetings law. That, I think, is contingent on whether we can remedy and become a cohesive team and remedy the concerns of the citizens. These events, along with a trail of other behavior that has occurred over time, give me great concern that there is not much hope for correction in behavior, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. We need that correction to yield the kind of a leadership team that our citizens will trust and respect. And I guess time will tell. But it does galvanize my conviction to firmly execute my responsibilities and authorities vested in me by the citizens of this county. I'm going to be more vigilant. I'm going to be sure that we stand tall while upholding the laws, statutes of the state of Colorado, and most importantly, the Constitution of the United States. That's all I need to say for now. And I'll hand this over to you guys to have for the meeting. And like I said, I'm not going to discuss it until we get into the meetings that will occur in the future. Thank you.
Okay, county strategic plan report. The only thing I would say there is that, well, it'll come up during the vouchers as well, so I'll wait and we'll address it when we get to the vouchers.
Let me make a statement there too. I guess we did have a good meeting. She sent us all the input from the meeting. Did you got a copy of everything, didn't you, Tom? Okay. So we can start following up with it now and maybe have some good items to include on the agenda in the future. Did a good job.
Jay, do you have anything on the strategic plan report?
No, I thought it was a good meeting. I appreciate it.
Great. Coronavirus relief fund. I spoke a little about it during the commissioner items. If you have anything else.
No, I'm a little disappointed that it's taken so long to get the information out to the public. The This should have been done weeks ago, and I just think it's going way too slow.
Okay. Kelly asked for the dollar amounts. I don't have it exactly, but it was 119,000 plus that has been approved by the committee to reimburse businesses, county governments, and individuals in the county. And that dollar amount has been submitted to DOLA for reimbursement through that CARES Act money. That portal came open yesterday. It was the first opportunity we had to request that reimbursement. Attorney items?
I attended the Planning Commission public meeting on Monday. Prior to that, I spent quite a bit of time reviewing the proposed amendments and giving my input to the Planning Commission ahead of time in writing on suggestions of things that I thought should maybe possibly be changed, or and a few typos, things like that. Yesterday I reviewed a proposed contract between the sheriff and Sol Vista and sent an email to Shannon last night with my suggestions on that. And as usual, Jackie was on vacation last week, so I didn't have as much to do with the planning and zoning offices as I usually do. I do want to thank the two of you, Tom and Bill. I asked you this morning if it would be okay for our next meeting, October 6th, regular Board of County Commissioners meeting, if I could be excused because Jackie Hobby, our planning and zoning director, and also the county sanitarian, asked me to assist her in the field on an investigation, and you gave me permission to do that, so I won't be here for the meeting. And then finally, this is something I reported on to you several weeks ago in my capacity as president of Dark Skies, but now I think things might be kind of moving over into the field where the Board of County Commissioners needs to be involved. Because it took me a while, but I found out that an entity, a company named Tillman Infrastructure, manages the tower for AT&T. So I contacted them. This is about all the complaints that I was receiving about the flashing red light on the top of the tower. And Tillman responded to me when I was finally able to contact the right person through email communications, that they thought the sheriff had requested that because of the occasional nighttime helicopter operations nearby. So I contacted Sheriff Byerly and asked him about that, and he said he had nothing to do with that. He said he's gotten complaints himself about the light, and he thinks the light should be there, because I had suggested, was there some way we can turn it off when it's not being used? He said that would sure be fine with him as long as his department wasn't responsible for doing that. And this is a guess on my part, but I think the request to have the lights installed must have come either from search and rescue or EMS or both of them, because they're the two that have nighttime operations. So I would ask maybe for an agenda item in the future where we ask somebody from search and rescue and from EMS to come in and talk about that. My suggestion to Tillman, and they seemed receptive to it, would be if we could put that on some kind of a remote switch to be turned on when needed, either by search and rescue or by EMS when they are expecting any kind of nighttime operations there, but otherwise not to be on. There aren't any FAA regulations that require a light on that tower because of the height of it. So if we could do something to just limit that flashing red light to when it's actually needed instead of all night long, because I know I've heard from a number of citizens who say it's flashing through my window and I can't sleep. So
Just a quick one.
yeah,
Tillman's the expert for the tower for AT&T.
Tillman is managing the tower. That's
Yeah.
what this company does.
I think there's an AT&T tower that has a lot dimmer light on it, just a few miles out of town. Is it, or is it a different tower? Anyway, it's a different intensity.
I have seen other towers. I kind of looked at them and I was like, oh, go by. I don't see any lights.
Can't
Of course,
see the
that's
light.
daytime, but I think Tillman, they said they'd be very happy to work with us. You know, they want to accommodate the citizens. whatever is done is legal and it's approved, and I think the approval
Sure.
will have to come from this board. So if we could put it on an agenda in the future, and ask somebody from search and rescue and EMS to be here to talk about that. And I need to find out from Tillman if there can be some kind of an on-off switch that can be installed, operated remotely from both search and rescue and EMS. I think that should take care of it, so. And that's all I have.
Do you think we will need to revisit the lease agreement?
I would have to look at the lease agreement again to see what's in there. It's been a while since I looked that over. But if Kelly could give me a copy of it, I'll certainly, can you have that? Could you send it to me or print it out or whatever? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Hey, Tom, just a quick one. Did you go attend the planning meeting last night?
Yes.
Was it much more attended than Monday? I missed it last night.
Well, yeah, I was the only county commissioner there last night. I think I didn't count the people, but it seemed about the same amount of people.
Same issues? No other new discussion? You can say, just curious on
Yeah,
attendance.
it was similar to yesterday.
I think Jackie said there is going to be another or a workshop.
Yes. Yeah. Scheduled another meeting and workshop. Okay, administrative assistant items,
I'm good.
public comment. If you'd like to have public comment to the commissioners with anything that's not on the agenda, now is the appropriate time.
No one's in meeting.
Hearing no public comment, we'll move on. Unfinished business, gentlemen.
None for me.
Okay, Commissioner Prince, I think you're muted. We'll move on to new business. If there is an action item, public comment will be allowed before we vote. First item is consideration of approving the vouchers and signing the checks. What's the group's pleasure? Yeah, Jay, I cannot hear you.
He's not muted on our end.
You're not muted from the host of Zoom, so.
Something you touched, maybe.
I know, I don't know, because he's not muted on our end.
You're welcome to call my cell phone, Jay, if you want. I would move that we approve the vouchers as submitted for September 2020.
I'll second it.
The moved and seconded to submit the vouchers. Discussion.
How is Jay gonna sign it after the fact? We did it before, right? Similar process.
Yeah, he can come in and sign it when he gets back, as far as I'm concerned. He's very frustrated.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
all
wish I
right.
could help.
I'll call him real quick.
No, it's not.
See, when he talks, it comes up on your phone.
Uh-huh.
He's not even telling you his pictures.
It's something on his
He must
end.
have done something
Yeah.
on his end.
Hey, Jay. Yeah,
Put your headphones down on the ground,
hold on just a second, Jay.
because it's getting feedback through his
Yeah.
phone.
Let me turn mine down as well.
Turn off your mic, sir.
Yes.
Got it all.
On a Chase card services, do we know what that is?
Well, we were hearing you just fine, and then it faded all of a sudden.
He's
So,
asking about an item.
you had a question about the vouchers, Jay?
My most important item that I want to ask about is operating, no, that's not the one, I'm sorry, let me get it. Is miscellaneous property development. We paid $1,636 to West Cliff Meats, and I'd like to know what that is. If anybody knows, if not, I'll check with Donna later.
Okay, hold on just a second, Jay.
Would you like me to call Donna?
I did not ask her about that. I asked her about some other things. I saw that voucher. Yeah, we can get you an answer real quick if you don't mind holding.
Do you know what the $1,600 to the West Cliff Meats was?
That was out of general fund, Jay, correct?
Stacy money for
Yes, general fund.
the kids council stuff or?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it was. That was a pass-through grant. They got
Oh,
meat from West
yeah.
Cliff Meats for the food program through Kids Council.
Yeah, Tom knows what it is now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of spaced that till I heard Terry ask about it.
Who'd we lose?
I think he hung up. But I think he's good now because he's popping up.
Oh, you're hearing him through there now? Okay. You must have fixed it.
Jay, are you back on Zoom?
I'm on Zoom.
Now I can hear him great.
Yeah.
What
I'm sure
happened?
he did.
Okay, did that answer your question?
It did. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
that reboot burn.
also
It's
had
his-
some
it's on his
questions.
side.
I also had some questions, called Donna and asked her about those. One of the questions I had was about what fund the $750 was paid out of for S-Brand for the strategic plan meeting we had, and it came across the vouchers as broadband internet.
That was a
As we
mistake.
found out, it wasn't a big deal what the name of it was called. It was a line item on the budget. And so I talked to Donna about that, and most likely the same budget line would handle that if we did community outreach, which is the only other place that I was aware that we could pay for that. So she didn't think it was a big issue one way or the other. But I just wanted to make sure that it was not being charged to broadband internet,
Yeah.
the line item. And then I had a couple other questions, but I think I got those answered sufficiently. Any further discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, we'll freeze the vote. All in favor of approving the vouchers for September 2020, say aye. Mr. Kanda?
Aye.
Mr. Flower, aye. Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Jay, would you mind coming in and initialing these once you get back into town?
I will, sir. I'll be back Sunday. I'll sign them Monday.
Thank you. Monday's a holiday.
I forgot.
But you can sign it anyway.
And I would just report that the voucher for the month of September total $576,650. Next item of business, consideration of transfer of funds, restoration fund, transfer back to general fund in the amount of $3,762. What's the group's pleasure?
I'll move that we approve the transfer of the funds from the restoration fund to the general fund.
Second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to transfer $3,762 from the records restoration fund to the county general fund, specifically for I-county storage fees. Discussion. Ms. Kelly, you have anything?
No,
Okay.
it was just.
Any other discussion?
I have just a quick question. We've been doing this for quite a while. How close are we to completing this project?
Jay wanted to know how close we were.
Geez,
Mine.
hold on. Jay, we're probably, well, I would say maybe a year off,
Okay,
hopefully.
sounds great. Thank you for, I was just curious.
Further discussion? Public comment?
No one's unmuting.
Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the transfer of $3,762. Say aye. Commissioner Kanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Flower votes aye. Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Transfer has been approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next item of business, consideration of the fire mitigation bids. I think Ms. Guinevere will come down.
Do you want me to call her?
So I thought Kara maybe, oh, she took the vouchers over there. So yeah, if you don't mind.
Mr. Chairman, she called me just as the meeting was
Bids?
Mr. Chairman, she called me
Yes.
just as the meeting was starting, saying
Okay.
that she would have the information to us very quickly.
Yeah, we just contacted her by phone. She's on her way down.
Great, thank you.
I would remind the commissioners that we do have an executive session scheduled for today, towards the end of the agenda. I did check with legal counsel, and Jay, you are good to call into that if you want to call my cell phone.
You might want to get that one, because I think
Good
that one's
morning.
broken.
How are you? Good. Were you able to send this stuff to Jay?
I was, thank you.
Hand her the mic.
I mean, by all assumptions, we made it.
Yeah, Jay, you said you did receive the documentation from Guinevere.
I did not, sir. She just called me.
Oh, okay. You said he didn't receive it. He said he had a conversation with you on the phone.
Oh, I just sent it like 10 minutes ago.
Okay, I
She
didn't
said
look
she
at my
sent it
email.
about 10 minutes ago. All right, floor is yours. Thank you for coming down. I appreciate it.
I'm using this one, it says off.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. So this time around, we got 3 bids. We were pretty excited about that. We did a contractor tour. The contractors went and we went to all the properties, and then we provided for them a breakdown of what each property had requested for mitigation work. And so that was, everyone attended. So then we got bids. I put together a ranking process. I have those here if you want to look at anything. Based on, was it received on time, qualifications, references, the ability to have insurance, local project knowledge, suitable equipment, a removal plan for the slash, and then bonus points for if they were able to go and reseed where they had torn up the properties. Bidders 1 and 2, and you do have the numbers and the names associated with those bids in the little sticky note.
Oh.
Yeah. 1 and 2 met most of the criteria. 1 scored the highest for this evaluation, but then we did have to be mindful of the budget. And number 1 did come in anywhere from $8,000 to $14,000 over the budget. Number 2 came in $5,000 below the budget. So we are recommending to go with number 2.
What was the budget?
30,000.
30K, so this is a $48,000 deal.
Yes, yeah. So I've talked with both Matt and Adrian, and everybody's in agreement with this selection. Something that I just talked to Adrian about, and we have been talking about through this process, if you guys give us direction, we would love to put together a more formal process for this so that it's way more streamlined. We'll take all of our lessons learned from this project, which are many, and really just kind of take this off of your plate or however much you want to be involved. But that would look like we have a standard contract. We have like, this is an application. We have a way to evaluate sites and things like that. So that is just for your consideration, but something we do feel like is important.
Okay. Comments or questions?
I don't think you need our permission to make it better. You can do that.
I know, I was like, why are you creating more work for yourself?
No, I want to keep it the same way.
Yeah.
Work hard.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Mr. Prince?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, and obviously you're aware that there are certain statutory requirements wrapped around this expenditure of this PELT money. So part of the process, of course, would be the official posting in the paper of record about the dollar amount that was set for the budget and what the project was for. Other than that, I think it's a great idea if you guys can streamline that process myself. What's the group's pleasure?
I move we accept the bid as proposed by Guinevere.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to accept the recommendation of contracting with H&H Forestry to do the Corona Verde Fire Mitigation Project, not to exceed $30,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
Further discussion? So did you make any forward movement on matching funds?
I was not able to talk to Matt about that.
Okay.
But that would be something that would maybe this project, maybe in the future.
Right.
Required.
Yeah, this fire mitigation plan was posted to not to exceed $30,000. So you know that, of course. So if those landowners do agree and go along with the matching fund request, whatever you guys decide is appropriate, then we may not expend all of that $30,000. Public comment?
Nobody's in here.
Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote on offering a contract to H&H Forestry for the Corona Verde Fire Mitigation Project. All in favor, say aye. Commissioner Kanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Flower votes aye. Commissioner Prince?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your work, ma'am. We appreciate that. H&H is out of Springs?
Levita.
Levita, that's right. Okay. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you can shut it off. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yep.
You got everything?
Can you give me copies of
Next item of business, consideration of issuance of county department credit cards. I'm gonna move we table this item probably until the mid-October meeting, which is October the 21st.
And the reason is we don't have it ready.
Correct.
Discuss.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to table the consideration of issuance of the county department credit cards. Discussion about that?
Has anybody given us any input at all?
I was not able to, I went down to the bank to talk to the vice president, was not able to have a conversation with him about this. I have talked with Donna about it, but we just haven't gotten enough forward motion on this, in my opinion, to deal with it today. Other comment? Public comment? And actually, gentlemen, with your permission, I would change that motion to postpone and not table. That was an incorrect motion on my part. I would move to postpone this item of business until the October 21st meeting.
That's fine, I second.
Okay, second agrees. Any comment about that?
October what?
I think it's the 21st.
21st.
Maybe I'm off a day.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, thank you. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of postponing this item until October 21, say aye. Commissioner Kanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Flower votes aye. Commissioner
Yeah, we
Grant?
lost Sam.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You lost it.
This item of business has been.
For you or for?
They're dead. On him too.
Until October 21.
Unless this-
And then while we're working on this, did we make a decision about adding their, you wanted to add the
Agenda
First
item.
Net Tower on the agenda?
October 21.
On that one too.
Well, why don't we, that'll give me time to get information back from Tillman and check with search and rescue and EMS and everything.
Yeah, my recollection of that, I did pull up that contract, but then I got interrupted and never finished reading all the fine print. As I remember, CES did request that be lit, but I'm not gonna quote them. I could certainly bring that up at the next CES meeting.
Is there one between now and then?
I thought there was one, let me look here at my notes.
Not even bring it.
Yeah, I thought there was, down at the fire department, but I'll have to look, I'll have to do a little more research. Oh, it's September the 30th.
Tomorrow, or 30?
Or I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, today, I was in the wrong page of my calendar. Yeah, the incident planning meeting is this afternoon.
Let me know if anybody has any recollection, or if there was a recent request for that.
This should still be.
I don't know when the power went up, I mean, over a year ago.
Yeah.
Like that, but, so I think somebody had to make a request to get that done.
Yeah, during the members' reports, I'll try to bring that up if it's appropriate. I'm not sure what that agenda looks like, so. Okay, consideration of COVID-19 purchases from the IT department.
Yes, my turn.
You had sent a couple of documents. Do you want us to refer to the most recent one?
The most recent one would be best, I believe.
Okay, all right, give me just a second.
In just a second, Bill will be back up here. There's some computer having. Yeah, that's the word.
Can we go ahead?
10 minutes or so.
Tell him about to.
We may have some public comment, I don't know. 10 to 15, we can always take a little recess.
Okay.
Just put it down as a discussion of flashing red light on AT&T tower,
Yeah, it's actually the first net tower.
first net tower, okay.
Hey, John, this is Kara at the courthouse. And the commissioner said they were probably ready in about 15 minutes or so, if you want to come over. All right, thank you so much. Bye.
First net, all one word.
Capital F,
Capital N, yes.
all one word, yes, ma'am.
It's not Netflix and it's not, Rich has got a test station, but you know, the Netflix or
She's got the net down.
I think it's.
she says that's the other one. Clint, would you like me to make more coffee? for
No,
the
no.
next meeting?
No, we just need to keep Jay on the phone, because instead of being in person, he gives him nothing now.
That's right.
His computer's over there.
Or if it's not the time remote, then.
If there's no objection, Chair would entertain a 3 to 5 minute break. Mr. Prince,
I didn't understand the question, sir.
I'm proposing a 3 minute break,
Oh.
recess.
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Panda?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll stand in recess. Ford County Commission meeting will come back to order. Let the record show it is 9:54 on September the 30th. So next item of business is consideration of some COVID-19 purchases from the IT department. So Mr. Brown, you have the floor.
Good morning, all. Over the last couple of months, different department heads and commissioners have talked to me about what we need to purchase as a county using CARES Act money, possibly to help fight an outbreak or prepare for an outbreak. And so this is a summation and list of all the tech that I have that I'm proposing. I sent an email last night or yesterday with the final proposals. Don't remember which one was first. There were quite a few.
Look like 5 computers.
Okay, the 5 computers. So for elected officials and department heads to be able to work remotely in the case of the county building either being closed or an outbreak or something like that, to facilitate the remote working, to enter assess for the assessors, for the treasurer, and for the various departments. I'm proposing buying 5 laptops and a virtual private network security, which will allow them to log into the new accounting program that we're working on, and as well as antivirus and malware software to secure those. So the total cost on that, and I want you to know, none of these are an all or nothing deal. I should have said that at the beginning, but the total cost on that for the 5 computers, the virtual private network, and the high-end security systems will be about $7K. None of it was budgeted, and it would be directly related to coronavirus work if the county building was closed.
Yeah. Next.
Oh, okay. All right. Next one. What's the next one on the list, guys?
I've got, appears to be the coroner request.
Okay. We're proposing buying PPE and emergency safety gear, body bags and whatnot, body bags, coveralls, high-risk latex gloves, N95 masks, knee protectors, shoe protectors to protect first responders from coronavirus or outbreak or anything like that in coroner situations. Total cost on that will be about $5,150.
Okay.
So that's that.
Let's go through them all, then we can
Okay.
come back.
All right.
That's all right.
Yeah, he's eating.
Okay. All right.
Get a flavor of where we're at.
Next.
OEM.
OEM. Okay. That would be masks, gloves, gowns, shoe protection, and other PPE for the Office of Emergency Management to distribute to any emergency care workers that had to come into the valley or any departments that found themselves lacking in the event of an outbreak. So that would be $3,000. Public health. Okay. Public health OEM request. So we have one ID card printer in the valley. It overheats after printing 2 cards. The ID card printers, that one was purchased many years ago for about $10,000. I found another one that is approved by the state to work with Salamander, which is our credentialing system. And this one's only $6,500. If we had an outbreak, we would have to print rapid tags and ID cards for any first responders, any contact tracers, that type of thing. And we can purchase that for, as I said, about $6,500.
Pretty good.
Okay. Next one, public health emergency management requested me to look into infrared technology to basically screen employees and people for fevers as they come into work and in different locations. And I'm proposing a 3-tiered system. One is a facial picture software that takes the temperature. One is a forward-looking infrared camera for, excuse me, to take pictures of people as if they're displaying symptoms. It can track the temperature fluctuations. It can actually track temperature fluctuations before a person even feels their temperature rising with a fever, and then as well as sterilizable contact thermometers, which are much more accurate than the infrared no contact thermometers. Total expense on that for multiple cameras and multiple tablet software or tablet installations, which would be able to go into the county building, all of the county buildings, basically, public health. It's also what they're using at the school and at the clinic already. Total cost on that would be $14,500. And then lastly, excuse me, is the drone UAV program for the 2 applications that would relate to COVID would be planning and zoning to prevent fecal contamination while conducting septic and wastewater inspections, wherein they could utilize it for inspections without actually having to go onto the property, take pictures of anything that could be leaking, and that way they wouldn't have to get close enough to possibly be infected by the wastewater. The other application is public health, and OEM have requested looking into this to facilitate contract tracing. They can also be outfitted with a forward-looking infrared camera so we can see people that are experiencing fever and take pictures to facilitate that, to facilitate combating COVID-19. So those are the proposals, and like I said, none of it's an all or nothing deal. It's just you guys, we talked about having a discussion. So
On the second paragraph of the planning and zoning drone, P&Z is requesting an FPV and an autonomous drone.
So FPV is first person view, and it allows you to basically sit in your car and fly the drone, seeing what the UAV actually sees, flying to a location, but also you can also program it for autonomous flight so that if let's say you ran into the person had their gate closed, but the neighbors had reported that there was a septic overflowing, you could actually program it to fly to the location, take pictures, and return to you.
So Vernon, I got a question.
Mhm.
The size of this aircraft would require a permit, a license, I think. And so who do you propose would be the licensed drone operators for the county?
Well, my proposal for this was to have 3 drone operators. The sheriff volunteered for anything that wasn't law enforcement related. It would be me, and then we'd have to find one other. And this included the licensing process for that.
And if it was law enforcement related, would the sheriff's department potentially train somebody? I mean, it would be logical to share this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This would be interdepartmental.
Okay.
Yeah. So
not just limited to the 2 that we see.
As far as COVID, this would be the application. For in the future, yes, the whole county could benefit from this.
Okay.
Once we get to the other side of this process of developing it, I've outlined literally over 60 applications. We've even heard from one of them with fire mitigation from Extension Office. So there's over 60 applications that the county could use with this program. And I'm proposing a 3-tiered approach for this. One is a smaller setup, one is a slightly larger setup, and one is a fixed wing deal. Like I said, it's all negotiable. We can scale it down, we can scale it up. It's not all or nothing.
Other questions?
I have, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm questioning whether it's even appropriate to discuss this in a BOCC meeting. I think it needs to be put on the form, sent to the COVID Relief Fund Committee for vetting. I feel that Vern probably ought to attend the meeting and explain to the committee why these are COVID necessary expenses. If this is a pre-discussion to see if the county wants to send it to the COVID committee, I'm okay with that, but I really don't feel we should be going too deep into the weeds with this at this time.
Okay, thank you. Other discussion?
That's a good point. That's how I took it. It has to be approved by the committee.
Yes, as I understand it, I was asked to bring it to this organization so that, because the committee was, as it was told to me, the committee decides whether or not the already expended monies are reimbursable. And so I was told to bring it to this organization so that we could decide whether, because I'm not about to spend any of this money without being
Well, no, it has to.
pre-approved or in that regard, because none of it's budgeted. So I was told to bring it to this one to facilitate that discussion. But if we need to go to the CARES committee, I understand that.
No.
Well, go ahead, Tom.
Well, clearly, this has nothing to do with the CARES committee, CRDF, or planning committee. This is an unfunded, unbudgeted request from you to the BOCC.
Okay.
Clear as day. And in my opinion, if the BOCC funds these requests at any or all levels, then I certainly would propose that they take those expenses to this CBRF committee for reimbursement.
Good point.
To be considered. It cannot go straight to the committee. No, it has nothing to do with it. Other comment? I guess the other comment I would have is I appreciate the work you've done. I've kind of been touching base with you from time to time about all this. I know you have spent a good amount of time doing the research on behalf of the folks that you are representing here today. I guess my thought would be that at some point, then the commissioners need to take this under advisement and get into the weeds about whether or not we feel these expenditures are appropriate, and then probably a discussion pertinent to whether or not we believe they would be reimbursable if we submit them to the CBRF committee. So I would, Chair would entertain any ideas about timing, or where would you like to go from here, gentlemen?
How many items total do you have here?
Oh, quite a few. Well, I had
Separate items that we would have to go into the weeds on.
well,
'Cause I took this as an item, as a consideration of doing this, that we discussed. Okay. Act on it. But if, I think a lot of this is COVID required, could be reimbursed.
why don't I give you a broken down spreadsheet of each one of these? Because there's multiple, for instance, in the Public Health Agency emergency management purchase for the oral tablets, there would be about 15 separate items in that. So I can give you a spreadsheet and a breakdown of all of that. If that's what you want.
I think would be appropriate.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Commissioner Prince, any input? Commissioner Prince?
Yeah, it's, I think the approach is reasonable on several of these items. I have significant questions on. You are correct, Mr. Chairman. We would need to fund this, and then it would go to the the Coronavirus Relief Fund group. So, yeah, I misstated when I said we should send it now there. So I agree with you. We need to agree on what to do, what not to do.
Okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
When do we want to revisit this?
Sooner than later.
Can we put it on one of the agendas next week?
Certainly, if that's your desire. October 6th or 7th. Do you have a preference, Mr. Prince,
No,
Mr. Canada?
No, but probably the 6th, Thursday, maybe it was not as busy.
What day is staff report?
Tuesday.
Pardon?
Both days.
This is both days.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
6 and 7.
No, I don't have both days.
Oh, just the staff.
Second day, 7th.
You may put on whatever.
Oh, yes.
Would make sense to me, Mr. Canada.
Good with me.
Mr. Prince, October 7th.
I'm good.
Okay, Ms. Kelly, if you would again put consideration of COVID-19 purchases via IT, that'd be great. All right, sir, thank you. Appreciate it.
Good job.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Any additional items to come before the board? Mr. Canada?
None here.
Mr. Prince?
No, sir.
No reply. Public comment? Hearing no public comment. Just a second, please. I would move that we take a recess on the Board of County Commissioners and convene a special an executive session for personnel matter under the Colorado Revised Statute 246402 sub 4F sub 1 and 2.
I'll second
In a
it.
second.
I'll send you.
Been moved and seconded to move into recess of the Board of County Commissioners meeting and convene an executive session pertaining to personnel matters under the CRS section 24-6-402. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Prince? Commissioner
Aye.
Jones, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are in recess. Yes, sir.
Is there going to be any other discussion after the fact, or should we just end this so it doesn't
We'll
go?
probably come back. We'll have to come back in a meeting. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what the discussion would be. So with that, we are in recess.
Yes, sir. Good morning.